So I take care of the team takes care of the clients take care of the business, and it's a circle, and we're all happy. Everybody's getting paid, everybody's feeding their families, everybody's buying diapers for their babies, everybody's good, and all of our businesses are growing, and it starts in a lot of ways with me hiring good people and keeping good people and taking care of good people.
Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to season 4 of Legacy's Journey, where we talk about creating what outlives you. I'm your host, Cameron Williams, owner of Kinley Consulting, where we focus on strategic financial growth for marketing agencies so that they can live the dream life they deserve and not be a slave to their business. And we do that through CFO services, consulting, and accounting. Now, this is season 4, where we are focusing on companies who specifically have bought, have sold, are scaling, or just overall, I know they're just destroying it right now and excelling. And so the beautiful thing about this being season 4, Kim's, I done got out a little bit. I've been outside. And, as you hear people present and get on stage and they start telling their stories, certain stories, you're like, that's pretty cool. Or I've never heard that. Or I would have never thought somebody at that level would express that. Oh, so you just like me. So you start to find all these different people. And one of these people, I was at a mastermind in early March, and they were getting an award for something. And there were a couple of things that stood out to me about this individual. One, they brought up Jesus. So, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Then they started talking about their team. So I'm like, that's good. And then they start talking about, hey, just because you hit this level, it's not all, stars and rainbows. It's a lot of work, and it can be a lot mentally. So I'm like, yeah, I want to talk to this guy on the podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, John O'Long is here and in the building. What's up?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. This is fun. I'm glad to be here, man.
It's about to get real fun. All right, so for the people who don't know you, don't know anything about you, never saw you before today, tell them name of company, and who you guys work with.
Yeah, so I'm John O'Long. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm the CEO of Leads Near Me, which sounds kind of generic. In the beginning was a generalist agency, but we strictly work with auto shops, mostly independent auto repair shops.
Okay. First off, I did not know you were in Atlanta because I'm in Atlanta. So that is
really?
That is so interesting. Yeah, I'm up on the north side off of 14.
Okay, I'm in Duluth. Right now, my office is in Duluth. I live in Loganville.
Oh, okay. I know where you are. All right, cool. So see, we ain't gonna even get into that because y'all need to know our offices, even though you could probably just Google. But let's jump into it. All right, so like I said, one of the things now, just for the record, now again, y'all know if we brought them on here, they're really just like destroying it right now. They just bought something or they just sold a company. In Jono's case, I'm listening to his story. He's done all the fancy things that everybody wants to do in the marketing agency world. He's hit the 7 figures mark. But what I want to jump into, one of the first things he talked about was like his faith. So just kind of walk us through, because a lot of people I've heard, I've seen, I've had conversations with, say like, being a Christian business owner is hard. Oh, I try to keep them separate. Like, how have you been able to use both in conjunction and still continue to grow? Because some people would say, oh, you're making all that money. That's, how it goes. Just walk us through, like, how have you kept your faith the main thing?
Yeah, man, that's a good question. And I'll try not to ramble here. Little bit of context is straight out of high school. I went to Bible college and then seminary. Both of my degrees, bachelor's and master's, are in theology. I served full time in a local church as a youth pastor for almost 21 years. I started doing digital marketing on the side back in 2012 after we had we had 4 biological kids at the time. Then we adopted a son from Ukraine. So my wife was staying at home, homeschooling kids. I was a broke youth pastor. I don't know if you know how much youth pastors make, but it's not enough for 5 kids. And so she's staying at home and I'm working. So I just needed to figure out how to make some extra money. I knew social media. There's a bunch of people around town who had social media pages and weren't doing anything with it. So I convinced a few of them to hire me, which is Kind of a cool story in itself. But to your question, so my faith, clearly a big deal. It's not like part of my life. I mean, it's faith is my walk with the Lord is not a vitamin. I mean, it's oxygen. Like, it's not something that just makes life a little better. It is life, and so really can't help but permeate every area uh, of how I treat people, um, of how I handle my money. I really feel like I believe this, and this is not I'm not trying to make the Lord sound like he's in charge of karma, that he works like karma. That's not biblical, but I can clearly feel the Lord saying, "Look, I've given you a lot. You got a lot of business. You're doing all right on money, but I didn't give it all to you just to spend on yourself and do trips and have a lot of fun.
Uh-oh.
And if you're not going to give some of it away, then we can fix that real quick. I can just take it. And so I'm very aware of the fact that I really didn't do all this. I'm not smart enough for this. Like um, my team's amazing. I tell them all the time, like, I know I'm not the smartest person in this office. I'm just in charge because I just got here first. So they're the ones doing it. And so, yeah, I want to show Jesus to them in the way that I treat them, in the way that I talk to them, in the way that I talk about my wife in front of them and talk about my kids. It's just it's little things like that. I'm not trying to get I don't know a lawsuit or anything by standing up on the break room tables and forcing everybody to listen to a sermon. Um, and I did just join this really cool and um, it's a organization called C12, and it's for Christian businessmen. And
This.
I just joined last month, and it's very cool. And their whole mission is to help you walk, be a good husband, and be a good CEO, and walk with the Lord in both of those areas. And so it's new to me, but I'm always looking for ways to do exactly that because I it is easy to I'm a new creation, but I'm a pro at my old life, and I can go back there quick if I'm not careful.
That's a good one. Okay, you said a lot right there. So one of the things you talked about was your team. Now, just for context, about how many team members do you have?
Um, there's 22 of us in this office here in Atlanta, and then we got three on the West Coast who were in the office, then moved, and we kept them on. And then we've got a sales guy who's in Florida, and we've got one more team member up in Pennsylvania, who's just amazing. Normally, we most of our hiring is in office, but if there's a rock star is a rock star, and we'll go for that. And then we've got four developers in India, so that's 7, 8. We're like right at 30ish. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is awesome. Now talk us through that because to your point at the beginning, it's just you. It's you making the sales, you doing the fulfillment, doing the website, the whole nine. Talk us through kind of as you evolve to where you are now. What did that look like to find the right people? What are some of the main characteristics you look for when trying to find a rock star? Because we hear that a lot that man, where's good talent? I don't know what they are. I don't even know what to look for. Hiring makes me nervous. So kind of walk us through that with you having a mainly in-person team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me, not to bore anybody, but I want to give a little bit more context because so keep in mind, I again started in 2012 as a one man show, then hired somebody to help me, just a young stay at home mom to help me manage some social media accounts. And then things grew. Somebody assumed I knew how to build a website, which I didn't, but I needed the money. So I let them hire me to build a website and just kind of faked it till I made it. And then that guy was pretty influential in town, and all these people said, "Hey, who did your website? Who's doing your social media?" So had all these people coming to me wanting me to do this for them, and I didn't really have to sell them because if you were good enough for Paul, is his name. He's still a client. Was my first client, still a client. If you're good enough for Paul, you're good enough for me. So it just started growing. Then I had all these websites. People like, "Hey, do you know how to do SEO?" So I started using some white label agencies, started hiring, but That agency was a generalist agency. Then I joined Seven Figure Agency back in 2020 and niched down into restoration marketing. Did that for like a year, hated it. Just didn't like the industry. Google ads for that industry was a nightmare. So then I shifted to churches, but I still had all these restoration clients. I still had all these generalist clients, law firms, wedding venues, you name it, which was rough. And then I had these churches, and then I sold that a while back, and so I sold that agency, and then bought into myself and a partner purchased leads near me. So I walked into this agency already doing decent from a client customer standpoint and financially doing all right. Now, from a systems and procedures and sustainability standpoint, it was about ready to break. Um, so that it's been kind of an unconventional journey. So I've done the fully remote thing, and now we've got this hybrid thing going on, which I don't recommend. If I'm being honest, it's one thing when your whole team is working remote and you all work that way and you all think that way. And it's another thing when you're all in office and you're all working that way and you're all thinking that way. Having in office and remote, there's a lot of things that don't it's hard. It's hard not to forget about the remote people. If I'll just say it like that, it's hard to forget that it's hard to remember that they exist.
Yeah.
Truthfully, you got to work hard to include them because it's easy to, hey, let's go in the conference room and talk about this. Oh, crap. We need to include him or her, and they're on the West Coast and it's 9 a.m. It's stuff like that. So we have to solve a lot of problems like that. Hiring, I suck at hiring, man.
But you got 30 people and you said they're rock stars.
I most of them, going back, one of the best employees I ever hired him without interviewing anyone else, and just kind of, it was a crapshoot. Didn't do any personality tests, just asked some questions. He's still with me. Hired him in 2021. Couple of the worst employees I've ever hired. I did every personality profile. I asked questions. I got other people to help me interview and did everything right on paper, and they were awful. So I've kind of just leaned into going with my gut. Nowadays, we have a HR person who weeds out just totally unqualified people. And then me and my vice president narrow it down to a few people. And honestly, that's going with our gut. And then we get the department head of whatever department they're going to be in to help make a final call. And then we go that way. But man, I lean heavy into our gut because you really can't know till you work with somebody for a while. I mean, people lie. People really, there's some people who are great on the team and they suck at interviewing. Like, I wasn't an idiot in school, but I was terrible on tests. I mean, tons of people like that. So they may not interview well, but they'd be great on the team, and vice versa. They may be awesome at interviewing and just horrible work ethic. So some of it, you got to do your best, go with your gut. It's a crapshoot, and hire slow but then fire fast when.
Okay. Now you said a lot right here. All right. I got in my notes. Everybody knows to take my notes. Now you talked about, yes, I hired my guy, knocked it out the park, but we sold one company and bought this new one. So let's break both of those down. So a lot of people, and you know this because we're in the same community, selling a company is like the dream for some agencies. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get this 5 or 10x multiple. Kind of talk us through some of the things you learned in selling, and maybe even in hindsight, hey, I could have increased that multiple had I done A, B, and C.
Yeah, that was a learning experience. One of the things I learned is that, at least with an asset sell, instead, I did an asset sell instead of a stock sell. Stock sell is way more complicated and stuff. So with the asset sell, there's not as many laws and rules governing that. You could pretty much, as far as how things are going to work and flow, yeah, there's kind of the typicals. This is how most people do it. But when it comes down to it, you can make up anything you want as long as it's on paper and you both agree to it. So there's a couple things that I wish I'd done different. Those things are structured, like mine. There's a lump sum up front. Then there was a seller's note that I'm getting a payment every month for the next 5 years, which is kind of fun. And then the other part of mine was an earnout. And one of the best pieces of advice I got was, you better be okay with the lump sum and the seller's note, and just consider that earnout as extra. If you get it, awesome, but be okay with not getting it, because most people don't stay for the earnout. My earnout was spread over 3 years, and I made it 5 months. As I got 5 months of my earnout, and so yeah, so it was fun. I learned a lot. If I if I ever do it again, one of the things I would have to figure out a way, and I haven't looked into this. I don't even know if it's legal, but I would make sure that everything goes with the business and all liability goes with the business. For example, a month after I sold a website that I built like 6 years ago, some scumbag lawyer found a stock photo that we were using without a proper license. Now, most of those guys are scammers. This guy actually was pretty litigious and had won some lawsuits against web designers. So a month after I sold my agency, I had to cough up $5,000 for to pay to get out of this lawsuit for this website that I built 5 years ago for an agency that I didn't own anymore. So if I ever do it again, or when I do it again, I will make sure that crap like that stays with the agency, because now I have it hanging over my head that that could totally happen again today, and I'd be in the same position. There's no liability for the new owner of my agency for stuff that I did.
Hmm. Okay, that's a good one. All right, now let's go to the next part. You said now we sold that one, learned my lessons. Okay, these are some things I would do different on the next one. So, you talked about a partner, and both of you purchased the new company. So, my first question, because we get this a lot of time, how do I know how to find a partner? What should I be looking for? What does a great partnership relationship look like? So, kind of talk us through how you knew that this guy was the one to jump into business with. And then part two of that would be, okay, what were things that you didn't know about trying to buy a company? Because a lot of people want to get into that too.
Well, my story of that's probably a little hard to relate to because it is extremely unique. It's worth sharing, but you'll see what I mean. First of all, I back in July of 2025, I got a call from Josh Nelson, who is is our seven-figure agency mastermind leader, and said, "Hey, I want you to talk to one of my mentors. He's looking for a partner."
Oh,
And that's where, I think I said this when I was getting my award. Like when Josh called me and said that, I'm like, bro, I don't know that I'm even qualified to be your partner or anything, much less your mentor's partner. I like, what are you thinking?
talk
Uh,
about that. Wait, because that's a good one. Talk about that, because there's a little worthiness there, a little self doubt. So talk through that, because I know on the face side, I know you got convicted.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The imposter syndrome. I'm at the front of the line. I grew up with my grandmother who was a worrier, so I could worry before I knew how to walk. All that stuff. If there's been any struggle that I've had just consistently, that I've wrestled with the Lord on, it's just been worry. It's just been, I don't know, can I do that? And overthinking and ruminating on things. Um, but the Lord did use Josh in a way to say, yeah, because for me, Josh just giving my name, had it never happened, Josh giving my name to somebody was like being nominated for an Oscar as far as I was concerned. And I'd have been happy with that. Everybody's, these actors, they brag like, I'm an Oscar nominee. I mean, I haven't won one, but I'm an Oscar nominee. That's still a pretty big deal. To be a Josh Nelson nominee, that was going to be good enough for me. Then I met this guy, Aaron. Aaron owned about 26 other businesses. Um, multi millionaire, super successful, brilliant guy. Also a former youth pastor. He was looking for somebody in Atlanta. He was looking for somebody who had integrity and who had the same faith values as him. And then he was looking for somebody who knew digital marketing and who could lead people. And so we talked all through July. He was already in the process of purchasing it. And so we talked all through July because he was already he was already a minority partner in the business. And so he was getting ready to buy the majority and looking for somebody to come in and buy the minority part of the business. But that person was also going to be the day to day and be the CEO. So we clicked in July and decided, yeah, this is cool. Now, August and September, it was a rocky road, man, because this is a large agency. There's a lot of clients, a lot of moving parts, a lot of money involved, and so you got a lot of lawyers just slowing stuff down, and so in this case, it was pretty much got to where it was just lawyers talking, figuring stuff out, and I would say if there's any advice, get you a good lawyer when you're buying or selling. I did not get a lawyer when I was selling, other than we got one together just to do the paperwork, and we trusted each other, and I still do. But looking back, I wish I would have really got a lawyer to really watch out for me, and so that's rather than just to sew things up and tidy things up at the end. But yeah, in this case, get you a good lawyer, whether you're the buyer or the seller. You need somebody watching out for you.
Okay, now let's walk through mindset because you kind of hinted at that a little bit. So, what is it like when I built something from the ground up? This was a side thing. I turn it into something huge. I sell it. So I got to just name the vision, make the path, etc. Versus now, I'm coming into something that's already established, already kind of has some rules, systems, processes, and I'm expected to come in and be, you know, the hottest free agent signing that's going to take us to the promised land. Like, walk us through some of those changes that you had to make as a leader coming into somebody else's thing versus I'm used to being the guy and I started it from scratch.
Yeah, it was a big deal. It probably kind of, if I'm being honest, it still is something that I wrestle with. Even standing up there getting an award for something that I didn't start is a little weird, if I'm being honest. And I actually talked to a couple of people about that, and they were like, "Well, you didn't get here conventionally. You got here kind of unconventionally, but you're still here. It's still yours. You have grown the thing. You are growing the thing. You have changed things. Um, you have a team that before we got here and took over, 18 of them were looking for jobs, looking to get out of here, and totally changed their mind about a week after they saw some felt comfortable with leadership. And so, man, we've been able to come in and change some good things. But as far as my mindset goes, yeah, it was totally different. And this is something that was good about Aaron. Now, and let me say this about Aaron, the partner. He passed away in a plane crash on February 13th. It's about 6 weeks ago. Um, so Aaron gave me a ton of confidence. Aaron believed in me. Aaron was one of these guys. If you go look up Aaron Stokes on Facebook, you're going to start seeing tribute after tribute after tribute. Aaron was the Josh Nelson of the auto shop owners. He had a coaching group called Shop Fix Academy, just like Seven Figure Agency, and he had about 1,500 auto shop owners in his coaching group. We're actually doing a memorial service for him on the 30th. That Shop Fix Academy is going up to Tennessee for that. Aaron was one of these guys that he was an encourager and he believed in you. And when he told you he believed in you, like you believed it. It wasn't like your dad giving you like, "Hey, good job, buddy. I'm so proud of you." Like, okay, well, you're supposed to say that. Like when Aaron said it, I believed it. And Aaron, even though I was only with him for about 8 months before he passed, he poured a lot into me, gave a ton of confidence. And so having a mentor that encouraged me through all that imposter syndrome and all that, okay, yeah, I didn't start this thing. Am I really the guy for this? Am I in over my head? Only had this many clients at my old agency that I sold. Now I got this many clients. It's a big difference. So having somebody that believes in you and cares about you, telling you that, yeah, you got this, you're fine. But then the other thing that you realize pretty quick when you pull and I guarantee you could do this in any large agency that you look up to and you think they've got it all together. If you could go spend a week with them, you'll see that they got the exact same messy, crazy problems as your agency with 20 clients. It's just a bigger scale. This agency was no different. The types of problems that I'm solving today are no different than the types of problems I was solving when my agency was at $20,000 a month. It's just that there's a lot more of the same problems. You still got complaining clients. You still got team members that you're having to correct. It's all that same. You still are trying to figure out why your client's not ranking like they should be when this client over here you've been doing the exact same thing for all these clients and it's working for this one, not working for this one. It's all the same stuff, man. It's no different no matter how big you are. It's just more stressful on a bigger scale.
Okay, now here was something you said. See, y'all know these people is geniuses, and they don't be recognizing that they geniuses because they just be sharing the regular. One thing you said that I thought was super critical. We got to go back to it. You said that when you took over, about half the team is like, I'm about to be out of here. But within about a week's time, there was something you did that made them want to stay. So talk to us about how did you come in and establish culture? Because again, if people are ready to leave, I may stay just enough to make sure like you all right, but I'm out the door. You were able to reverse that. Like what were some of the things that you came in and established and how did you lead to the point where they're like, no, I think I'm gonna give this guy a try.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't want to be too critical of my predecessor. Um, but just a totally different leadership style. This was like walking into a library. Nobody spoke. You didn't talk. You ate lunch at your desk. No one knew each other. Literally, no one knew each other, hardly. Um, kind of ruling with an iron fist. You come in here, you get your work done, you keep your mouth shut, and then you leave and you don't complain. So that's kind of what I walked into. So on one hand, it wasn't a very high bar to come in and make people like, ah. On the other hand, there are things that you learn when you serve in ministry, whether it's paid or just volunteering at your church. I think I, looking back, I can't think of any other profession that can prepare you for entrepreneurship like ministry does. Because as a youth pastor, I was in charge of marketing, I was in charge of public speaking. I had a volunteer team that I had to lead and get to do things, and they didn't get paid. So I didn't have that to hold over their head. So you're doing all these things that lend themselves very well. You got, excuse me, that from a sales standpoint, uh, you got new people walking in the church that don't know anybody and they're scared to death and they're nervous. That skill that a pastor develops of being able to spot somebody new and make them feel comfortable and start introducing them to people, that is like Mr. Me. That is like sand the fence when it goes to selling, because that same skill, when you get on a Zoom with a potential client, the ability to make them feel at ease and trust you in about 30 seconds, it's that same skill, man. And all those things translate. Yeah, as a youth pastor, if you can convince 100 teenagers to, instead of stay home, like we have a youth group on Wednesday night, when they could be like on social media, doing anything else, going out to eat with friends, whatever. But instead, I'm like, hey, would you like to come sing some songs? And it's kind of awkward, I know, but we could sing songs together, and then you could listen to me for 30 minutes, talking about the Bible. Sound good? Like if you can convince teenagers to do that, then you can do marketing. And so, um, what was your original question? Sorry, man. I got so,
No, it's all good. I was talking about how did you establish culture, because you were saying how they were already basically 1 foot out the door, but within about a week's time, there was something that you were doing, or things, multiple, that made them say, I think I'm gonna stick around and give this guy a shot. So you started by talking about how your skills as a youth pastor you think has really translated to help you to break the ice, make connection quick because they
yeah.
were not doing.
So yeah, that applied to them. So yeah, thank you for the recap there. So coming in here and ministering to them, like met with everybody one on one, said, "What do you like? What do you not like about this?" And let everybody be honest, and listen to them and took notes and started changing some things pretty quick. There were things they've been asking about forever and kind of been ignored. So um, they've been asking for an ice maker, one of those little nugget ice makers. They've been asking for it for like a year. So the first week, I bought a $500 ice maker and put it in the office, and just little things like that. We had enough money to buy them a $500 ice maker, and dude, that changes the dynamic. On a more serious note, I sat everybody down and I said, "Look, I fully believe this. Like my job is to take care of the team, or one of the biggest parts of my job is to take care of the team, and then the team takes care of the clients." And then the clients stay happy and continue to pay us, and they take care of the business. So I take care of the team takes care of the clients take care of the business, and it's a circle, and we're all happy. Everybody's getting paid, everybody's feeding their families, everybody's buying diapers for their babies, everybody's good, and all of our businesses are growing, and it starts in a lot of ways with me hiring good people and keeping good people and taking care of good people. So that changed it. They you could ask him. They believe that I care about them. They know that I actually do care about them, and I think they believe me. I'm pretty convinced that they believe me when I say that this business exists because of them. The fact that I'm taking my family, at spring break in a couple of weeks, and we're going out of town on spring break, and they're all going to still be here working to make us and them money, like they know I appreciate that. That is not lost on me. That them working allows me to do that. And I allow them to have vacations with their family by growing this business and giving them raises. And when we're pretty generous, man. That's another thing I would say that probably differentiates us a little bit. We like I said, out of the 30, there's only 4 overseas um, team members, and we're all, I got a bunch of expensive Americans in an office with good insurance and a 401k. We match 4%. Everybody else matches 3%. We even give them we have a Christmas savings account that we match. They can save up to $600 a year and we'll match it. They get $1,200 on Black Friday. Like we take care of them, and they're paid well. And it shows in the way that they work and in the way that our agency grows. I don't try to get discounts on employees.
But to your point, that's what's caused it to be a great place. You guys have grown, etc. All right, now let's talk about that, because we talked a lot about the people, the acquisition, the selling. Now let's talk about the growth, because we know we in the same group. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants more leads and more clients. I don't even want to ask how are you doing it, because I know you are. What Give me maybe 3 things, because you have grown, that you would say has helped you to continue to grow? 3 things, they can be behaviors, specific things that you're doing, mindsets. Just give me 3 somethings that you feel like, because I was doing this, I mean, outside of prayer. I mean, I guess that can be one of your things. But how are you continuing to grow? Because some people are, oh, the economy is down. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, AI is coming to take our jobs.
Yeah. Well, one, I don't look at my competition. And this took me a long time, man, because my people who worked with me in the early days can tell you stories of me just getting all bent out of shape about being behind my competition. And I am pretty serious now about not even thinking about my competition. I'm friends with my competition, or some of them, and I believe there's plenty of pie. So I just think about us being better. I think that helps us grow. The other thing is, and this doesn't apply to everybody, but I suck at sales. And so I fixed that problem, not by trying to get better at sales. Well, I did try to get better at sales, and I think I did get better at sales, but I knew I didn't love it. I wasn't passionate about it. I don't get up, I dreaded sales calls. And if that's you, you gotta fix that. You either got to fall in love with sales, or you got to replace yourself. And I talked to a lot of guys, and this was me. I remember asking Josh Nelson, Seven Figure Agency, early on, like, what do all the guys who got to seven figures fast? What do they all have in common? And he answered so quick, said, "Oh, they're all good at sales, or they're all serious about sales." I was like, "Oh, okay." I believed that, but I didn't do anything about it. I just said, "Okay, well, I just got to try harder to sell." But I didn't like it, so I didn't do good at it, and I didn't grow as fast as I could have. And I got a lot of guys that I talked to, and I hear them say the same thing I did. Oh, man, I know I need to get better about sales. I know I need to hire somebody. Um, but then they go trying to, either they don't get serious about it, or they try to get a discount on a sales guy or a saleswoman, salesperson, whatever we want to call it. And a good salesperson is free. You just got to make sure you're getting the right person, because they're going to, I mean, they for most of our packages, the way we've got our pricing for any digital marketing agency, they sell 5 or 6 clients in recurring monthly revenue. They've paid for themselves, and they probably ought to be able to sell that in a month. So they can pay for themselves in a month. It's not. And if I were starting my agency over from scratch, I would do everything but selling, and I would take out a home equity line of credit to hire a sales guy first, day one. That's probably
Whoa.
not good financial advice, but that's what I would do.
Whoa. Okay, now you gotta break that down. If you were starting over right now, we're going into Q4 in 2026. You're telling me the first person is not in fulfillment to do the websites,
I'll do that.
but you want a salesperson.
Hmm.
You gotta break it
Because
down.
I know I'm not good at it. Now, if you're an agency owner and you're good at sales and that's you, then yeah, you need to worry about fulfillment. But it ain't me. And I kept trying to put that square peg in a round hole, and it slowed me down. And it's my biggest regret about my old agency, is not hiring a salesperson sooner.
That's
That agency
good.
would have been much larger, sold for a lot more, had I bit the bullet and did whatever it took to make some hard decisions to be able to get a salesperson in there. Now, you got to hire the right one, and you got to do your own marketing where they got some leads. I'm not talking about getting a cold calling person. Like, they need warm leads coming in. So I would say the third thing that so second thing would be hire a salesperson, but then the third thing I would do is, like, start looking for that honeypot of leads. um, I definitely want to be, use a theological term, omnipresent. I want the podcast. I got to be on social media. My SEO's got to be good. My Google ads have got to be good. I've got to be at the trade shows. I got to, write the book if I can. I, I need to be showing up everywhere, but there's usually one of those, and I've thought, and it's different for everybody, but one of those tends to turn into a honeypot for a lot of people. In our case, um, it's a joint venture. Like I said, Again, this is where we're a little unique, and it's probably not a super fair comparison. But Aaron, my partner who passed away, runs the largest auto shop mastermind group in the country. So it's not hard for us to sell to those 1,500 coaching clients of his. Now, that's been very good for us, contributed to a ton of growth here, but it's also dangerous because those people talk. And so if you let me add a fourth thing, it's I'll keep my reputation good. I protect my reputation with my life, because if you got that honeypot and that honeypot hangs out and they're all your clients and you start crapping on some of them, well, that will snowball quick and you kill your reputation. You'll lose those clients. So I'm going to guard my reputation, but I'm also going to diversify my sales channels too. So I can't just rely on this one joint venture for everything. So before I got here, this agency was not running Facebook ads, was not running Google ads. There was no SEO on our website at all. You could barely tell that we even sold SEO or marketing on our website. So we have since fixed all that and opening up more organic growth outside of that one joint venture.
Oh, okay. I got to recap this again. Don't look at your competition. Worked in getting better and more passionate at sales. But if he could start over, he'd do everything but selling because he recognized that that was not a strength. Find where your honeypot of leads are. And since you found that group, keep your reputation and brand high. I love that. Be a good steward of the group. Okay. Let's transition now because you started off talking about this. We got Bay and we got 5 kids. Now, she's been with you since day one. So kind of talk us through all of these different milestones. So when you sell the business, what is her thoughts? The first
Well, yeah, man, she's been through a lot with me. She remembers the broke youth pastor days. She's been at the Walmart checkout line and told our little girl who was asking for a $4 toy no. She remembers having $60 worth of groceries in the cart and she only had $50 and having to put $10 worth of stuff back. So she's been through it. So there's a little bit of there was a little bit of fear, like you're selling this thing that's been really good to us and got us out of, like, I can spend more than $50 at Walmart now. You're selling that, because it's easy, like, to see dollar signs, like, oh, I'm getting, you know, unless you're huge, typically it's not retirement money at my age, so, and that was the case. It was nice, but it wasn't like, hey, John never has to work again. We're good. So we knew something else was going to be next. But she also trusts me. And she also very much, and she's also an encourager, huge encouragement. I give a lot of credit to Erin, but definitely my wife Heather deserves a lot more credit because she's been through it all with me. But she'll tell me, like, look, dude, you said you didn't know anything about building anything and you thought you were going to die a youth pastor, and you've always said that you're not that smart, you're not that great at math, and I'm not. But she's like, you need to step back and look at what you built. And the fact that, we had 3 people approaching me about buying the agency, and I wasn't like putting it out. I wasn't even trying to sell. In fact, I turned 2 of them down. She was like, look, you built something that people want to buy. Like, who does that? Not many people do that. So, quit beating yourself up. So she was good about that. She was an encourager about that. This was such a weird transition into leads near me that, there was one time, because she didn't meet Erin at first. And a lot of it this partnership just sounded too good to be true in a lot of ways. And she's like, You're telling me Josh Nelson hooked you up with his mentor, and this guy's worth millions and millions of dollars, and all this stuff. And she's like, yeah, it sounds like this guy's not real. But anyway, she once it got real, and she was good. Um, yeah, she's a trooper, and I'm thankful for her. And she does well on those days where I'm beating myself up thinking I have no business doing this.
Okay, now I got two questions because I just got out of men's group and we talked about that this week. Tell me about, okay, first part, how are you and Bay staying connected? Because what we talked about in men's group was having guy friendships and how it's important as a guy to have time to self, time with just you and wifey, time with you, wife, and the kids, and then time with you and the guy. So, what does that look like to help keep you mentally refreshed and balanced so that you take care of Jono the person?
Yeah, well, I'm not great at that as far as I don't have a ton of guy friends. I don't hang out with with a friend group. I probably need that more. Um, we're at a we're in kind of a cool season of life. Three of the five kids are moved out. So I've got two boys in the home. One of those is a junior in high school who drives and plays soccer and runs track and does have guy friends that he wants to go hang out with. So we have a little bit of a taste of empty nesting. So it is much easier these days for us to connect. So we're and again, not now that not a broke youth pastor anymore, I can do things like take her to a winery on the weekend and go out for not nice date nights. So we're pretty good about calendaring date nights. But even little things like, tonight I'm leaving straight from here and we're going to go sit together at a soccer game. And that's a solid, and they're not very good at soccer. So we're going to have an hour and a half of us sitting there eating our concession stand hot dogs, and just catching up and talking. So soccer season is good for us because we sit together a lot and talk.
Very.
Um, so yeah, man, we're just working nothing extravagant typically. I mean, we do some trips, but for the most part, it's walking the dogs together after dinner. It's sitting at soccer games together. It's just little stuff like that. And we actually like each other. Like, I mean, I get on her nerves, but she doesn't really annoy me. We like hanging out.
That's a good one. Okay, talk about that. So to your point, I got three kids that are off, two in the home. So I've heard this. Like, how do we continue to keep that connection with the teenagers? Because he's out there living his life, starting to become a young man. How are you kind of staying involved? Like, do we have some type of family dinners that we do, or every Saturday we do this? Like, talk us through that because some people do struggle as they're trying to approach seven figures or after they've hit it in trying to find this balance in different ways to connect.
Yeah. I will say this is probably one of the things that ministry prepped me for in a good way, because I saw lots of preachers' kids. Preachers' kids have a reputation, and a lot of preachers' kids maybe rebel because they had this preacher dad that was always available for everybody else and didn't spend any time with them. So we started fighting against that pretty early on, and I see how it can happen. But in my case, we were pretty intentional about, like, look, I'm not gonna sacrifice my family for this ministry, or I'm not going to sacrifice my family for this job. Like, nothing's worth that. So when it comes to staying connected with the teenagers, um, I think the biggest thing is doing stuff that I don't like that they like. And there's a lot of that. I grew up with my grandmother. I don't know how to. I'm not a fisherman. I'm not outdoorsy. I'm pretty indoorsy. My eighth grade son loves to go bass fishing. I don't know where that came from, but I take him fishing, and I'm taking him to the in Memphis, Tennessee. They got that big pyramid, like it's a hotel with a Bass Pro Shop inside. So I'm surprising him next month, and we're going to stay in at the Bass Pro Shop. And that bores me to tears, shopping at Bass Pro, but I'm doing stuff he likes. My other son, he works out every night. I hate working out at night. I actually hate working out, but I'm getting old and fat, and so I do need to be lifting some heavy things. So the easiest way for me to hang out with my 11th grader is to go work out with him, and we've got weights down in the basement. So Tuesday and Thursday nights we do that, and on Tuesday nights, um, we like this crappy, dingy Chinese buffet in town, and we go to the Chinese buffet. So just little things like that. It's just not again nothing extravagant. I mean, we're going on a spring break trip. We go on summer trips, and Aaron. One of the things Aaron said, my mentor said, he was talking about how busy he was. And he said it occurred to him, like, what are we doing all this stuff for? Why am I getting up early? Why am I working? Why am I in all these meetings? Why am I building all these companies? And he said, it's to buy memories. He said, we're making this money to buy memories with our family. And so I'm constantly thinking about taking some of this money that I'm making and buying memories.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right, as we wrap this up, let's go rapid fire here. These are some easier questions. So we're going to knock these out really quick. These are some that we've just found over the years that people love to really think through. All right, question one. Let's say it's 12 months from now and you've had a huge win that you're celebrating. What is that win?
A huge win that I'm celebrating in 10 months for the business would be that we've hit 10 figures. We've hit, sorry, 8 figures. We've hit 10 million in annual recurring revenue.
Okay. If you had a magic wand and you could fix one thing like right now, this second, what would it be?
If I could fix one thing right this second,
Right this second, like the minute you get the wand in your hand, it's done.
I would use it to convince clients that AI is not the Lord, and plugging your website and your results and everything and asking ChatGPT if your agency is doing a good job. I would get that. I would make that impossible.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. All right, if you could go back in time, knowing every single thing you know right this second, and could go back to either 18 or 22-year-old Jono, what are you going to tell?
Hmm. One, I'd tell them a couple things. I'd say one, you're smarter than you think you are, and you're smarter at some things that are going to you may suck at math and don't understand why there are letters in math, but there's some other things that are going to serve you well that you're actually good at. So don't sell yourself short. Stop beating yourself up. Number two, I'd probably say, hey, you might ought to consider just volunteering, being a really amazing volunteer at church instead of being paid by the church, because
Yeah,
there's some things that are gonna you're gonna have to work through by being a full time staff member that are gonna stick with you and maybe require some therapy.
there you go. Yeah, we shout out to all the church staff that labor so hard for the people because I know we tear y'all up.
Church
We
people
just
are rough on the staff, man,
and
and
the staff they trying to help you out. So
it,
shout
it
out to y'all.
is rough. It's rough.
All right, so tell the people, hey, if you want to connect with me, if you want to work with us, again, name of the company, how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah. So again, I'm Jono. Would love to connect. Like Instagram is probably the easiest way. It's just at Jono Long, JONOLONG, and yeah, leadsnearme.com. Anybody who owns an auto shop who's looking to make their phone ring, that's what we do. Send them our way.
Do they have to be in Atlanta?
No, 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 no. We've got shops in every state and Canada.
Okay, okay. So if you listening to this and you know your friend got an auto shop, you know who to tell them to go to.
Bring
All
it.
right, let's
Bring.
summarize this episode. So the company that he had, more of a generalist, worked a little bit with churches and other industries. had an asset sale. He talked about that there are multiple ways to sell. So make sure you have a great lawyer that's advocating for you. Then he bought a new company with a partner. The things that he looked for is somebody who could believe in him, see things in him. And then he came in there and established culture really quickly because they were all about to go. So, what does it look like to come in and lead effectively to let people know that you care? And in his case, it was something as small as I just need to get y'all an ice cube maker. Some things that he would suggest you think about. Don't look at your competition. Work on getting better and more passionate at sales. If he could start over today, he would do everything and get a salesperson. And where's your honeypot of leads? Because of course you got to feed the salesperson something. And then if you find this honeypot or this main source where there's multiple people there, make sure you keep your reputation high. He also said, shout out to Bay because she's a trooper. She saw it in them before. Sometimes he saw it in himself. And then just different ways to get time in with the family throughout the week. Get on the kids' level, do some of the things, even though you may not like it, show up anyway so you get that time in. So, y'all, again, thank you so much for paying attention, for tuning in. Jono, thank you for showing up and just keeping it real with us. Guys, again, he said, if you need somebody to take care of your marketing, tell them the website again.
Leadsnearme.com.
You need to go there.
Easy one.
Right now. Click it. Blow them up, especially if you need some help. If not, hit them up on Instagram. Connect with them. These are the type of quality people that you want to be around to glean from, learn from, check in on, and just see their journey and hopefully get inspired. And that's the whole purpose of this episode as well as the podcast. So we are committed to getting you great people who are doing great things in their community, changing the world, and not losing their sanity and their families and their